Good evening, and
Sit
you are
down. Yeah, I
welcome
like
to
why they're hungry.
another. Good evening, good evening, um, good evening, and you're welcome
Good
to this
evening.
exclusive interview from Elombah Television. Today, we are going to be discussing Anambra as an oil-producing state, controversies, potentials, and the prospects. Remember that we had done a topic like this some time ago, but now we have the Commissioner for Information, Anambra State, Steve John Adinuba. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
And remember, you can join this conversation simply by raising up your digital hand. But before we go further and before I invite the public, Mr. Adinuba, Anambra State has received the recognition as an oil producing state. Can you give us a background of how this happened and what this means?
Well, we've been on this thing for quite a long time. Even the administration before us began it in 2013, but it resulted in a serious breakout of hostilities between the people of Aguleri in Anambra East local government area and the people of Ibaji in Kogi State over who owes what. No more hostilities, of course, but I must confess, the controversy has not been resolved up to this moment. That is only one part that about the location of the hydrocarbon or petroleum resources in Anambra State. Then we have resources in another part, in our local government area. Niocha and Owikbele, two neighboring communities, and actually very, very sharing boundary with my hometown of Ihiala in Anambra State. Oil has been produced here since 2014, but secretly by an Indian company called Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company. And they came from Delta States, secretly moved into Anambra, producing oil, but attributing the oil to Delta States, whereas it's Anambra State. So we got to know 2 years ago, and the governor led the fights, put in so much resources, going all over the place, from Lagos, where you have the Department of Petroleum Resources, and where the Indian oil firm has headquarters, to Abuja, where the NNPC is located, and the Ministry of Justice, and so on and so forth. So it's been a well-fought battle. 2 years, we did not relent. We even went to the Ministry of the Environment because the Indian company began to explore and produce oil in Anambra State without conducting the environmental and social impact assessment. And this is compulsory. It's mandatory, you must conduct. They did not do it. So we reported them to the appropriate authorities. And in November last year, the Federal Ministry of the Environment declared Sterling Company guilty of breaching environmental laws and regulations of Anambra State and of Nigeria. So finally, about a week ago, a little over a week ago, the revenue mobilization declared Anambra State an oil producing state and therefore entitled to 13% of the proceeds from the sale of crude oil and natural gas produced from Anambra State. And the icing on the cake was 2 days ago when the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria formally and officially declared Anambra State oil producing and entitled to all the benefits accruing from being an oil producing state in Nigeria. By oil, we are referring to both crude oil and natural resources. I mean, natural gas resources.
Okay, now this you just said it now that Anambra has been producing oil since 2014. What changed within the past 2 years, and why is it just now that Anambra is receiving this recognition?
Well, in 20, I told you, began in 2013, but there were hostilities between Aguleri community in Anambra State and
And
Ibaji
the Kogi
community
state.
in Kogi
Yes,
State.
but you also said that this.
Lives
But you
were
also said
lost,
that this.
but yes,
Let me. Sorry
yes,
to cut it short. You also said
Anambra was
that these
producing oil.
hostilities was. I'm sorry. You said these hostilities were not still resolved. So, what arrangements led to this recognition? What changed if the hostilities were not
Okay.
resolved?
Yes, no, no, the hostilities have been resolved, but the controversy over the ownership of Anambra River 1 oil well, Anambra River 2 oil well, Anambra River 3 oil well, and Anambra River 4 oil well. Who owns them? The federal government of Nigeria decided that the 13% to be shared equally between Anambra State and Kogi State. In other words, we'll be getting 7.5% until the controversy over the ownership of these 4 wells is resolved. No hostilities, but the ownership of 4 wells have not been resolved. That is all. But oil production in Aguilera to stop for a lot of reasons. One of them is that the oil was produced, sent by barges to Delta State, where it was transported in a pipeline to the ocean. When the price of oil crashed, it became uneconomical to continue with the production and the transportation arrangements. I hope you are there.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
All right. So that's what happened. But oil and gas are produced in Obaru, in Anambra State. But all along, the credit didn't come to Anambra State. It was going to Delta. And that's unfair. So our governor led the fight. We fought gallantly. If you permit me that expression, we fought gallantly. And it's been, as we say in Nigeria, it has ended in praise. And I must commend the governor of Anambra State for one other thing. Because of the struggle he waged, Edo State has now got an oil well. Delta State got an oil well. Kogi State got an oil well. So when the governor of Anambra State was fighting, to most people, he was fighting for Anambra State, but he ended up fighting for 4 states. So these 3 states, Kogi, Delta, and Edo, now have an oil well each. That's an additional. They didn't have them until a few days ago. Thanks to the people and government of Anambra State, led by Chief Willie Obiano.
Okay, remember that you can join this conversation simply by raising up your digital hand, and I will try to accommodate as much questions and comments as possible. Now, how soon can we start enjoying this advantage of how soon can we start enjoying the advantage of this 13% you mentioned? Because I know that some conditions have to be met before we receive the 13% advantage. So how soon can these conditions be met and we start enjoying it?
So if you read the letter from the president or from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, your interpretation will certainly be with immediate effects. With immediate effects. In other words, it's already on. Maybe started on September 1st. The letter does not say when, but my interpretation is with immediate effect. So it has started.
So you're saying now that Anambra State is receiving an additional 13% fund from the federal government effective from September 1st, 2021?
Yes. As I've told you, the letters from the federal government, both Revenue Allocation and Fiscal Commission, and from the Office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, none of them takes when it will take effect. So I should think it's with immediate effects. That's my interpretation.
But this 13%
So yeah,
derivation fund is gotten from the revenue gotten from the oil and sent to the federal government, then is derived from that. Are you saying that Anambra State is already producing oil and sending to the federal government already? Do we
oh, we
have
have been
that in
doing
place? Do
that.
we have the infrastructure in place already
Oh
and
yes,
producing
I've
enough
told you,
quotas to get the 13% funding?
we have been doing that, but unfortunately attributed to Delta states, whereas Anambra states. So we fought like a wounded lion, and we succeeded. We've been doing that, but the credit has been going to our sister state, not to us. That's not right. And we have made our point. We have shown with incontrovertible evidence. We had the best engineers, petroleum engineers, the best geophysics around. They went there and have found lawyers and demonstrated that actually these wells belong to Anambra State. Not in dispute anymore. Yeah.
Okay, now considering that this is an election year, do you think that this move to make Anambra an oil producing state, just like the airport and the other legacy projects of Governor Obiano, is a strategy to put the current ruling party in the favorable view in the eyes of Indian Anambra?
No. To be honest with you, there is an expression I like a great deal. And the expression is this: statesmen think about history, politicians think about the next election. What I've tried to do is what will benefit the people of Anambra State in the short term, in the mid-term, and in the long term. In other words, we have taken the strategic interest of the people of Anambra State into consideration, and we are doing what is right for our people. Nothing to do with the election. You and I know very well that Anambra State is in desperate need of not just an airport, but an international airport. Taking into consideration that our people are very entrepreneurial, that cannot be disputed. We have the largest market in West Africa, and we are the largest importers in the whole country. So, and our GDP is very impressive. So that's not a dispute at all. Building the biggest international conference center in the whole of Africa. By the way, our airport is one of the biggest too in the whole of Africa. Building an international conference center here in Oka that will accommodate 13,000 people. That is a strategic move. You're not having a brainwave by doing that. I will explain to you the reason in a moment. And then building Nigeria's most modern stadium here in Oka. These are legacy projects meant not for election purposes, but to change the course of history in Anambra State. When you have a five-star hotel like the Agri Lake Hotel, an international conference center, and an international airport, what are you doing? You are going the way of Dubai. Why do a lot of international meetings, conventions, and conferences take place in Dubai? Excellent airports, excellent aviation services, excellent hotels. So we are laying the foundation. And don't forget that we have a vision to make Anambra State a fully developed economy in the next 50 years. That is Vision 2070 Committee, headed by Professor Chukwuma Soludo. And I'm proud to announce that I'm a member of that committee.
Yes. Okay, just like you mentioned the airport yourself, it took 7 years. This is the 8th year of this current administration before the airport was built, and up to now it's not functioning. It also took quite a number of years before this oil started, before this Anambra got its recognition. And up to now, we still don't have the infrastructure to actually, you just said it was accredited to Delta State. You've not told us how we resolved that issue. We've not had infrastructure to say that Anambra State can immediately start reaping the benefits. You just implied it within states categorically.
No, sorry.
Do you still think? Okay, go
Let's
ahead.
get the facts right. The infrastructure has always been there. So what are you going to do? There's nothing you are going to do. The infrastructure is there, the pipeline through which the crude will be exported wherever is going is in place. And nobody is building anything. So if anybody tells you the infrastructure is not in place, the person is talking out of ignorance. The infrastructure is there. We're not building anything to transport crude oil from Anambra State.
Okay. Okay, now have you seen the FIRS letter to Kogi State that was dated August 24th, 2021? And if you've seen it, what is the importance of that letter? Have you
say
seen the
FIRS letter? Letter from
dated
FIRS?
to Kogi State? Yes, yes, concerning this same issue.
No. There's no problem. I've told you when
If
Willie
you've not
Obiano
seen
was
it, sir, let me
fighting.
just say.
No. I have seen it. Please. It's not a big deal. It does not affect us in any way.
Okay. So you're saying that this letter, which sir, let me just read it out to the public. It says, request to declare Kogi State as oil and gas producing state. I wish to refer to your letter dated 10th August 2021 on the above subject and to inform you that the Commission at the 139th plenary session held on the 27th July 2021 approved the attribution of Oda River Oil Well 1 to Kogi State. Furthermore, the Commission approved the attribution of Anambra River 1, 2, and 3 oil wells on a 50-50 percentage basis between Anambra and Kogi State, pending the final delineation of the boundary between the two states. Accordingly, Kogi State will start to benefit from the 13% derivation funds as soon as proceeds from the operation in Oda River 1 oil well or Anambra River 1, 2, or 3 oil wells start contributing revenue into the Federation account. Your Excellency, please accept as usual the reassurance of the Commission's high regards to its team. Now, Mr. Adinuba, can you hear me? According to that second clause, which says, accordingly, Kogi State will start to benefit from the 13% derivation funds as soon as proceeds from the operation of Oda River 1 oil well or Anambra River 1, 2, or 3 oil wells start contributing revenue to the Federation account. Now, that's what I was trying to ask you. Are you saying currently, as we are talking, Anambra State is producing and contributing oil revenue to the Federation account?
My answer is yes. We have done that for years. For years. We have not stopped. Now, listen again. Anambra State has now got 11 oil wells. 11 oil wells. Kogi had just been given 1. Anambra State, 11. Number 2, Anambra River oil wells 1, 2, 3 have been the bone of contention between the Baji people and the Aguleri people, which led to hostilities in 2013, resulting in deaths and destruction of assets. I've said this before. The federal government says we have taken this matter to the National Boundary Commission. When the National Boundary Commission decides the real owners of these 3, we know how to share the revenue. For the time being, the 13%, half we go off. Listen, Anambra River, 1, 2, 3 oil wells. 7.5% we go to Anambra. 7.5% we go to Kogi. until the ownership tussle is resolved. We are confident it will be resolved in our favor. We are the people who invested in the development of these oil wells through Orient Petroleum Resources Limited. We developed through a private company supported by the Anambra government. Otherwise, most people in Kogi did not even know there was oil around that place. We spent money, we spent time. They are saying no, that oil we are taking, part of it is from their territory. Theoretically, it's possible, but we say it's our own. When it's resolved, they may end up getting instead of 7.5%, they may get 1% or nothing. But we are confident it's our oil. We developed the oil wells. It's totally different from the level we already have in our kitty. They have one, Kogi has one in his kitty, Anambra has 11 in his kitty. We are now discussing who owes an additional 3. Is it Kogi? Is it Anambra? So no big deal. I guess I'm clear enough. All right.
Yes, you are. Thank you, sir. Remember that you can join the discussion simply by raising up your two hands, and I'll try to accommodate as much questions and comments as possible. Remember that we are discussing Anambra as an oil producing state, the controversies, potentials, and prospects. Now, so let me ask you this. Now Anambra is entitled to 13% derivation fund, like I said, and we are producing oil. Oil is something that comes with a lot of environmental issues. How is the government planning to protect the people of these local governments and areas that have this oil from the environmental issues that comes with oil production?
Yes. You remember that as early as last year, the Anambra government dragged Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Producing Company, an Indian company, to the Ministry of the Environment. And last November, there was a one-day conference at Agolo Lake Hotel on this matter, and the Minister of State for the Environment, that is federal, came all the way from Abuja and declared Sterling Oil Company guilty of environmental pollution, of not abiding by the laws and environmental laws of Anambra State. So we are very conscious of what we should do. And if you see the caliber of people who are on our team, you will not be surprised. You have distinguished professors of geophysics. You have people like Engineer Frank Edozian, a top engineer with Shell, with the Department of Petroleum Resources, EPR, which is the regulatory agency of the petroleum industry in Nigeria. So we took the best, and that's why we made an excellent case. We took the best, and these people are very conscious of the implications of environmental degradation. We don't want our people to suffer that. And I must also commend the people of Ogbuadiocha and Ogbuibele, ably led by Mr. Riza Wong, the chairman of the Transition Committee of Obaru Local Government, who, when they discovered what Sterling was doing, brought intelligence reports to our attention, and we began to work. The people of Obaru and Ogbuibele, and people of Ogbuibele and Ogbuadiocha didn't like the environmental pollution going on in their place and reported to us. So we took action immediately. We are highly socially responsible. And part of social responsibility is that you must contribute to environmental protection.
Okay, talking about social responsibility.
Yes.
Talking about social responsibility, the areas that these oil wells are located, have they seen any level of development fitting to an area that have an oil well? When I mean development, I mean infrastructural
Well,
development, roads, dirty roads, and
we are
better
only
standard
taking
of living.
charge
Have they seen any of
here.
this?
I'm coming. We are only taking charge now. Only now that oil from a wheat belly and a Oguanyocha is being attributed to us. But even before that time, my own community in here shares boundary with a wheat belly and sort of with a Oguanyocha. And I am proud to announce to you that 2 years ago, the Elombah administration awarded a contract for a road that starts from Oguanyocha and terminates in my own village in Ihiala with a bridge across Olas River. Don't forget, Oguanyocha and Owibele are what we call hard to reach areas, hard to reach communities. The soil is marshy. When it rains, it becomes difficult. If the people of Oguanyocha and Owibele want to go to the headquarters at Tani or to Onitsha, they will first come to Ihiala, my own village in Ihiala, and then go to Onitsha, from there to Atani, because they have a very difficult terrain. Just as you have in Bayelsa, in Delta, and all other oil-producing areas. So, but ahead of the attribution of oil to Anambra State, we've already begun to take concrete actions to provide them with not only good roads, but with bridges.
Any of this, the contract that was awarded, have any work been done and has it been completed?
The bridge, no, the bridge has been designed. It takes quite some time to design a bridge. And it's awarded to a company called Tamad. Tamad is a multinational and is doing a very good job in Anambra State. So they have designed the bridge, they have designed the road. Some skeletal work was done, then suspended because of the severe economic crisis, not only in Nigeria, but the whole world. Don't forget the economic recession induced by COVID-19 since last year. The UK, for example, which is a well-developed economy, is experiencing the worst recession in its history in the last 300 years. That's serious. So inflation went up. Last year, the Naira was exchanging for about 330 Naira to a dollar. Today, it's about 500 Naira to a dollar. So everybody is experiencing economic difficulties arising out of the COVID-19 pandemic. But we are not giving up. We are marching on. Unfortunately, the profound economic difficulties affected the pace of our road development, the pace of providing infrastructure in these hard-to-reach areas, namely Owibele and Oguanyocha.
Okay, remember that you can join the conversation simply by raising up a digital hand, and I'll try to accommodate as much questions and comments as possible. Remember, we're talking with the Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Season Adinuba, and we are discussing Anambra as an oil producing state, the controversies, potentials, and prospects. Now, with this new development of Anambra's recognition, do you believe that it's going to translate to a higher standard of living for India Anambra?
Well, the answer is, of course, yes. Anything that can bring in money on a substantial scale will definitely enhance the living standards of our people. Nobody can dispute the ability and capacity of the Anambra State administration to manage our people's resources in the most prudent way. The evidence is overwhelming. Just a few days ago, I had calls to call attention to the fact that last August, budgets and NGO funded by the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation of the United States published a survey, its reports on the fiscal responsibility index of every state in Nigeria. Anambra and River State got the best index. These are the two leading states. Now, if Anambra could be regarded as excellent in managing resources, with no airports, no seaports, no money from oil, you can imagine what we will do by the time we have money from oil. When we had the global recession, 2008, which later came to Nigeria a few years later, most states were in a total mess. Even the federal government was in a profound difficult situation. Many oil-producing states, for all, maybe with the exception of one, went for bailouts, not once, but twice. The Anambra State government did not go for any bailout. We had no reason for that, because even though these states receive over 6 times what we receive every month from the federation account, we've been able to manage our limited resources in the most prudent manner. So Anambra did not go for any bailout, whereas oil-producing states went twice. As I've told you, budgets declared Anambra and River State to have the best fiscal responsibility index. Anambra State has the lowest unemployment rate in the whole country. Our unemployment rate, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, is 13.1%. The national average is 27.1%. In other words, even if you double the unemployment rate in Anambra State, it is still lower than the national average. And I'm talking about unemployment rate because for most economies in the world, the most important indicator of the performance of any economy is the employment rate. In other words, what the National Bureau of Statistics told the whole nation is that the economy of Anambra State has been managed better than the economy of any other state in Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory. So our record is there. May I tell you, please, that even though we are building and we are going to deliver one of the finest airports in Africa in a record time in less than 2 years, we did not borrow a kobo from any bank anywhere in the world. We are not owing the contractors even 1 kobo. No state in Nigeria has this record. We are delivering anytime from now the biggest international conference center in Africa. We did not borrow a kobo, and we are not borrowing a kobo. We are building the most modern stadium in Nigeria today. We did not borrow a kobo from any bank. If any state, if any government in Nigeria's history has this record, let me know. And I boldly tell you, no government in Nigeria's history has the record of Anambra State in terms of prudent management of resources. The record is overwhelming. We are the first state to pay salaries in this country. We pay before Lagos, we pay before Akwa Ibom, we pay before Rivers, we pay before Delta. And these states get sometimes 10 times what we receive. We are not owing any pensioner. We are not owing any worker in Anambra State. We are the only state in this country that every December gives every worker, every pensioner, a bag of rice to go home with. No other state has that record. If there is any, let me know. Anambra State has become a model in prudent management of resources. We are proud of that fact. We are proud of that record. If you are from Anambra State, you must be very proud of Anambra State. Not only in managing economic resources, we are #1 in education in this country. In every exam conducted by JAM, by NECO, by WAEC, we record the highest number, we record the most brilliant results, and we record the least number of examination malpractices. In JAM last year, somebody from my hometown, Ego Agnes Madafokwa, broke the history, broke the JAM examination history by scoring 365. Second person from Anambra State, from Northia, sorry, his name is David Wobi. This year, Anambra took the first position once again. Incidentally, the father, the father is from Oka and is my neighbor. We go ahead. We can go on and
all right, so are you aware of the, are you aware, well, yes, we can go on about our educational system, but let's not talk about that. That's not the topic for today. Are you aware of the PPP, the public-private partnership?
Where?
The public-private partnership arrangement.
To do what?
The public-private partnership arrangement is where the public can, or whether the private sector can invest.
I know what it is, yeah.
Okay, so you know what, so let's give you a background of what it is, because it's going to lead to my next question. Is there any plans for the Anambra State to lobby the federal government or invite the private sector to build refineries to help in this crude oil production? Is there any plan at all like that?
We're not talking about plants. Well, okay, you call the plants. We began long ago, by 2002, not even now. We must give credit to the administration of Dr. Chiwokem Badinuju. That promoted Orient Petroleum Company Limited, now PLC, to explore and produce crude oil and gas in Anambra State and to build a refinery. That company is where the board is led by Chief Emeka Anyok, the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth. The late Vice President, Dr. Alison Kweme, was on the board. The Bureau of Furniture, Iwe Nemeka Alfred Achebe, is on the board. And don't forget that the Bureau of Furniture was a director of Shell International in London. So he can call him an encyclopedia of the global petroleum industry. So you're asking if there are plans. I say these plans preceded us long ago. Yes.
So do you see it happening in the nearest future, where Anambra is going to be an owner of refinery in Anambra State?
No. There were challenges. There are still challenges with Orient Petroleum. There were management issues, and the board disagreed with the management. Well, I don't have to go into details. It affected the pace of development. Okay, it's a private company, but promoted and founded by the Anambra State government in 2002, not our administration. But if they did the right thing, the government supported it. It's a private company. They supported it and invested in it. It's the right thing to do. Support the private sector, which is better in managing resources than the public sector.
Okay, let us take comments and questions from the participants. I can see Mr. Elombah's hand up. Mr. Elombah, the platform is yours.
Honorable Commissioner, good evening. My question is with regards to, there was a news report we had the other time, there was some Chinese companies probably drilling oil around the, what is it again? What is this town besides where we had this refinery? Sorry, I forgot. Osadebe's hometown. There are some Chinese companies. Obaru area, there were some Chinese companies drilling oil and refining oil in our backyard for many years. It came to light, and then people said that that is an illegal operation. And afterwards, I haven't heard anything about it again. Is Anambra State aware of that? And if they are, has any effort been taken to resolve that anomaly?
That's what I've been discussing. One is not a Chinese firm. It is an Indian firm. The name is Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Producing Company. They were based in Delta State, which shares boundary with Anambra State. And they began to take our oil from Ogwanyocha and Owibele. Both communities are in Obaru local government area. And my own Ihiala hometown, we share boundary with Ogwanyocha. So it's a place I know very well. We go there on foot, my own people, including me. We still go there on foot. So I know the terrain very well. When they came secretly. These are these are hard to reach areas. When we discovered, we've tried an amicable resolution. They were not cooperating. And I've told you how our governor personally went to report them to the DPR, which is the policeman of the petroleum industry. DPR, meaning Department of Petroleum Resources. From there to the NNPC. From there to the Ministry of Justice in Abuja. From there, the governor went to the Ministry of the Environment and reported them. And the Ministry of the Environment and the Anambra State government last November, that's 10 months ago, held a conference at Agro Lake Hotel and invited this company and other stakeholders. They came, and the Federal Ministry of the Environment, led by the Minister of State for the Environment, Sharon Ikazo, publicly declared this company guilty of environmental violations. He did not even tell your host community, in this case, Anambra State, you are here. He did not even tell about people. He did not tell Ogwanyocha people. He did not tell Ogbibele people. He did not even conduct environmental and social impact assessments as required by the environmental laws of Anambra State. They still did not board. But now I'm happy. I mean, what's of it all? They were producing oil from our territory and giving the credit to Delta. Delta had been collecting the money. And our governor fought like a wounded lion, fought gallantly, and today we have seen the results. That's it. So we are people who discovered it, not outsiders.
All right, we thank you very much. Let's call Mazi Htimo to ask his question.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Sidon. As you like to be addressed.
Oh, yeah. I prefer my first name. I'm not a formal person at all. You're calling me by my first name.
Yes. My question is, we know the impact in general of such exploration of oil or oil mining in general. We know the devastation we have seen over the years in places like the Niger Delta and elsewhere. What kind of devastation we have seen there, environmental disasters we have seen there. I know you've mentioned that these companies have done environmental and social impact of their mining in Anambra State. Given that Anambra State is already suffering from quite chronic environmental issues like erosion, I mean, do we need another high impact activity in the state, considering that state, in terms of land mass, is not that very big? So, I mean, what assurances do you have in place that these companies that you're inviting to mine this oil and gas in our state are going to be responsible miners without polluting our air, our waters, and our way of life? Because we haven't got anywhere else to go. If they destroy it, where else are we going to go? Erosion has destroyed as much. We don't need any more disasters in Anambra State.
I thank you for your concern. It does appear to me from Anambra State, so it must be a worthy and patriotic Anambra person. Thank you for your concern. Yes, Anambra State actually has the least land mass in Nigeria after Lagos State. And our population is very huge. And our people are involved in a wide range of economic activities. As I've said before, we are recognized the world over for our entrepreneurial skills and endeavor. So there is so much pressure on the land in Anambra State. What it requires is responsible oil exploration and production. If you go to Elombah in Bayelsa State today, which is the first town where our community, where oil was discovered in 1956, you'll be sorry for the people and the community. We don't, Anambra, we can afford to allow Anambra to go that way. So the fact we've already run to the Federal Ministry of the Environment shows how environmentally conscious we are. We are going to learn from the lessons of other communities, whether in rivers or Akwa Ibom or Delta or Ondo or Edo, anywhere oil is produced. We are going to learn from the word of experience and ensure the right things are done. I can promise you that. And I, in particular, as an individual, I'm keen. Because after my village, you enter Ogwanyocha, where you have some of the oil wells. So, if the place is polluted, my own community be polluted. So it's in my own interest to ensure that the right things are done. If you pollute my homeland, my house, where will I run to?
Well, I'm just so worried.
Yeah.
These people are
So
so
trust,
irresponsible. They only care about the dividends they're going to submit to their shareholders and stuff. I'm worried that they wouldn't care about
the profit
the air
motive.
pollution,
I
the air
agree.
pollution,
But
the
they
water
do that.
pollution,
Yeah,
and the
they can get
environmental
away with it.
that will follow.
They can get away with environmental pollution if only we allow it. You can't expect someone like Governor Willoughby. No. He will fight. Trust willing to fight. You can't expect someone like Soludo, if he becomes the governor as everybody expects him, to tolerate that. No, it can't happen. He just cannot. He can't do that. He can't play that kind of game with Anambra people and with their responsible leaders. It can't happen. Trust the government and people of Anambra State to do a damn good job of protecting the environment. We have already suffered enough from soil degradation, from soil erosion. We have over 930 active erosion sites in Anambra State alone, small as we are. That makes us the world capital of soil erosion. So that's enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's as much as we can take on today's exclusive interview. We have been discussing.
I don't mind if you
Anambra. Yes, I know you don't mind, but we have another interview coming up by 8 o'clock. And we have been discussing Anambra as an oil producing state, the controversies, potentials, and prospects. Special thanks to our guest. He is the Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Mr. C. Don Adinuba. Thank you so much, sir.
It's a pleasure.
And Julie.